Hello, and welcome to the introductory lecture for Regents and Honors Level Biology for Our Lady of Lourdes High School. My name is Mr. John Hurlis. My contact information can be seen on the screen in front of you. My email address, hurlisj@ollchs.org, is the best way to get in contact with me. Also, my extension for the school phone is on there as well. That does not ring an actual phone, so please do not become upset if I never answer it. It just rings a voicemail box. So the best way to get in contact with me is email. I check it periodically throughout the day and do my very best to get in contact with you as quickly as possible. A little about myself. I am a graduate of Our Lady of Lourdes High School. I got my undergraduate degree in biology from SUNY Oneonta, and I have my master's degree in biology from Mississippi State University. In biology, it is a Regents class. All students are required to pass a Regents at the end of the year. Regents counts for 1/6 of the overall biology grade. The 4 quarters and the midterm make up the other 5/6 of the Regents, or the overall grade for the class. The Regents exam is at the end of the year. It is written by New York State, and we will do an extensive preparation for the Regents exam, in addition to an extensive preparation for the midterm exam, considering those make up about 1/3 of your overall grade, those 2 exams. All right. Tests are going to be worth 70% of the overall grade for the quarter. Homework and quizzes will make up about 10% of the grade. Labs make up about another 10. Participation and behavior make up 10%. Now, the thing about quizzes is quizzes can factor into other areas based on the nature of the quiz. If I feel that the quiz is lab-based, it will go into your lab grade. If the quiz is a little bit more of an assessment of your overall knowledge of a section, it'll go towards the tests. And we'll be using the new online LMS server in order to take those tests, or not all the tests, but some of the quizzes for homework and labs and whatnot. So you will be assessed both in class and on the internet. Tests are given at the end of each chapter or topic. Sometimes we might do part of a chapter or 2 chapters on one test. Before each test, a review packet is going to be assigned with Regents questions that are like those that will be on the test. Packets are generally twice as long as the test and are going over the day before the test. So they'll have several days to work on these packets, which are generally anywhere between 40 and 60 questions long. At the end, the day before, we will go over each of those questions in depth, taking little notes that I think are important to them, giving little hints about what types of things I like to ask on the test. They are very important to use. New York State does not change their questions very much on the Regents exam itself. So there will be a lot of crossover questions. The more questions we can give you, the more prepared you can be to get ready for that Regents and ultimately take that exam. Test corrections. Points can be earned back on tests by doing corrections on questions that are missed. Corrections are done by writing out the question, defining all 4 multiple choices, or in the case of a question that is not as simple as a definition, an explanation of why the multiple choice is correct or incorrect will be required of the student. We will go over the test in class together. answering any questions the students have. And if they're unsure of how to do a correction on a specific question, I do always make sure I go over that so they are aware of what they have to do for each question. It's one of those things where you can earn some points back, so it has to be done well. If it's done poorly, I can't be giving you points back for a poor job. All right, so this is an extra assignment, an extra availability. Now, it will count as a homework grade, so not completing it is not an option. It will hurt you if you don't complete it, so it'll help you if you do complete it. Homework is given almost every night. There will be some cases in which they will have a night off from homework, but in a class as deep and as full of information as this one, homework will have to be given almost every night. And it'll consist of work in either the text or review books, all right, which they will either be given or purchase at book day. There will be online lectures, just like this one that you're currently listening to, that will go over the information that will be going over the next day in class. They need to be watched and notes taken on them. Now they can pause and rewind and everything, but all the notes on the screen must be taken so that we can go over them in class the next day. All right? That'll be very important. After watching each lecture, there will be a short quiz taken to assess the level of understanding. Maybe a 5-minute quiz, the answer there. I will also make sure that the lectures are available to watch on YouTube. There'll be a link to them, to a page where I will put them all up there. So if you are in a situation where you're on a bus to a sporting event or something like that, you could at least get your notes taken from your phone or from a friend's phone or tablet or laptop. But depending on what type of device you have, YouTube will be available to you, so you will be able to use that to watch the lecture at least, and then when you get home you can take the quiz or the next morning, or even in the library before homeroom, or during your lunch period. So there are plenty of options if you are in a situation where you're at a long sporting event, you get caught up. I understand, having coached track for many years, I know that events can take a long time, but I'm trying to make it as available to the students as possible. They don't need to lug around their heavy textbook in and out of school. All they have to do is take their iPhone or iPad or whatever they have and do their lectures right there, sitting on the bus or waiting for their event to start. Labs. Each student must complete 30 plus lab hours in order to take the New York State Regents exam. Now this isn't going to be an issue for us. We will be up over 40 lab hours, if not more than that, throughout the course of the year. If a lab is missed due to absence, and this should be under the rarest of circumstances, if you're very sick or something like that, it's obviously understandable, but it will have to be made up. Some labs need to be made up in a more timely manner than others. Some labs can wait until the end of the year, we'll do a general makeup, and you'll be good to go. Some labs, however, will be sensitive material in which you have to have it to either take an exam or to take the midterm. Especially some of the New York State labs have to be done earlier because I will be testing and quizzing on those New York State labs. Participation and behavior, it's very simple. If a student acts out or talks in class or is completely inattentive, they receive a -1. Takes a point away from their participation and behavior grade. Now you saw that that will account for 10% of their overall final average. So if you're in class, you've got your notes, you're paying attention, you're asking questions, you're engaged, you will get all 10 of those points and you'll be good to go. Now if you are inattentive, if you're falling asleep in class, if you're disruptive, if you're causing a problem in class, I will remove those points. Now at 10 points removed, you are now getting a 0 for participation behavior. 10% of your overall grade is now a 0. So it's very important that you are attentive, that the student pays attention, that they do not disrupt the class, and that they're nice and quiet. All right? Extra credit will be offered periodically throughout the year. I have several little fun assignments that I like to do. People generally like to do little art projects or little papers that we do that I think really help the students in their understanding of material, but also give them an opportunity to make up some points. I understand that stuff happens throughout the year, and I don't want anybody to be buried under a poor test grade. Really, that doesn't reflect who they are as a student. So extra credit will be available. Now the issue with extra credit is if you're going to be doing extra work, you have to have all your work done. So in order to be eligible for the extra credit, all homework assignments must be completed, or if you've missed some, you must go back and make them up. All right? Extra credit can help you if you've made a mistake, but it will not save you if you have not been doing any work. If your test grade is poor, if your overall average or test grades are poor because you are not doing the work and not doing the assignments, then extra credit is not what you need. Right? Extra credit is extra after work has all been done. Notices. I try and stay in good contact with the parents, especially if there's a point of concern. If a student receives a test grade below a 65%, I will send a notice home via email. All right, I'll send home their grade and explain what happened. And there will also be emails and notices sent home if homework becomes a major issue or if there's a behavioral problem in class. I'd like to stay on top of things. I don't want there to be any surprises, especially with it being freshmen and the beginning of a new school year. With a new system and all new teachers, I want them to know where they stand with me and what they need to do to really be successful. All right?